Are you looking for a nice way to display your data, whether it's something like a directory, a showcase, or even a shop? There are a couple of different apps you can use to do this, and one in particular that I have fallen in love with. So first up, the sort of classic way we would do this is something like Airtable. Airtable is a database system by nature, so it's very good at dealing with data and presenting it in different ways. You can create interfaces in Airtable, and for simple purposes, you can get away with using their free plan. Here's an example of something that would look like a directory where we can pull our data into really specific layouts. However, we have very limited ability to style them. So we can't choose to add things like buttons. I can't really change the display of any of this information. I can just choose what to show or not. So there's some downsides there for sure. It also takes a little bit of know-how to set something like this up. Even if Airtable has great documentation and training, it's not super user-friendly. Another option is Notion. Notion is one of my absolute favorite apps. I know I am a fully fledged Notion nerd here, but they have a really fun way to display your data outside of just tables and lists. You can create gallery views that look honestly pretty good. There's still no button feature, but it's really nice to be able to see everything at a glance. And you do have a little bit more styling control, not tons, but you can choose which things to show on this main page, and you can actually encourage people to click in and get more information. Again, this works on the free plan of Notion, so a really good option if you're budget conscious. For a long time, the main player in this game was Softr.io. This is a paid app that you can use to build essentially apps with data you can pull from an external data system like Airtable, Notion, ClickUp, for example. They have lots of different layouts that you can play with and is really, really interesting software to be able to present things in lots of different ways. As you can see from this list, there's genuinely so many different options. What I like about Softr is that it's almost a website builder, but also uses the data that you have from your databases. So you can add in different sections if you wanted to add more information than just purely what you're pulling from a database. This, for example, is a Black Friday page that I used for a Black Friday promotion using the strategy taught by Dharma Ju. I'll leave the link below if you're curious about her system. But this uses Softr to display the data I've collected through forms of different people's deals during Black Friday. It's a really fun strategy. I highly recommend you check it out. The downside with Softr is it's pricey. You can get away for a little bit on the free plan if you're going to have just really limited small apps. However, quickly you're going to need to get into the basics plan, and that's a lot of money for something that's kind of just displaying data a different way. And that's where recently I discovered and absolutely fell in love with Shareables, which is a kind of simplified version of Softr. These days, Softr has added in things like app builders and AI, and it's a lot. Shareable really is still working on creating those widgets and websites using your data. Again, it pulls the data from places like Airtable, Google Sheets, Notion, ClickUp, like all the places you would keep data normally, to design little apps that display them really prettily. Really fun for things like databases, lists, and really simple kind of shop displays. So here's an example of an app I built in Shareables for my recent Ask Master collaborative challenge. I share that full strategy with you inside my collaborative challenges course that you will find the link to check out below. This is pulled from data that was submitted via forms in Notion, and I have so much control over styling this. I was able to create these lovely layouts here to display things really beautifully, and if I decide to, I can actually have a details page with more information. So I can either have it be just that first list with all the info, and people only click out if I've added a button to go to an external link, or I can have a details page where I can again display beautifully whatever information I want pulled again from that database. I really enjoyed how easy this was to create, and it's super customizable. I'm able to come in here and really tweak to my heart's content how everything looks, and as an ex designer, that's very important to me. So here, for example, I can come in and style the buttons with different font weights, sizes, colors, like borders, shapes. I really love how flexible this is, and the support team, I just wanted to give a shout out, was super helpful. It is a relatively new app, and they keep adding new features, and they've been really open to adding new features to help troubleshoot things as I go, and I really appreciate that in a small software company, especially as a also small business owner. When we need help, I love being able to know there's people on the other side who are willing to help me. So this is just one use case of what you can use Shareables for. They include lots of different options, and honestly, it sparked a bunch of ideas for me. So they have things like job board, comparison pricing, team directories, event calendars, which definitely sounds interesting to me, digital products, restaurant menus, like there's so many different options. And again, I love that this is a more affordable and honestly simpler version of what Softr was doing very well. but made more accessible for small business owners like us. I've got my affiliate link below if you'd like to have a look. And if you're curious about my collaborative challenge that I mentioned earlier, again, I'll leave the link below. This is a really fun use case for Shareables, the software, to be able to display the information I wanted for this challenge in a really visually exciting and interesting way. So I'd love to hear if you've tested any of these out, and if you do give Shareables a go, make sure you grab my affiliate link below so they know I sent you. And I'll see you next week for another video.